Hey, good morning. So, I want to talk about character creation in my little tutorial world here. So, first things first, name your character, pick male or female, and then you start on this general tab right here. So, there's some templates. You could pick a random one. I normally start from this one, and you have some presets for skin pigment. Body type will change, obviously the size, the build of your character. Brightness is going to change the skin tone. Saturation is going to change it's basically like the blue and yellow values of the skin tone. And then freckles is just the face. So that's full freckles, no freckles. So it just shows up there. Skin brightness actually refers to like shininess, like the moisture in the skin. So like hot summer day, winter. Face type is this. It's some presets for jaw shape. It doesn't seem to change mouth, nose, or eyes or anything like that. It's just jaw shape, really. Ear types. Those will change the ears, obviously. So you have like your common standard ones. They all look like ears. So that's pretty cool. As far as I know, brightness doesn't change any of these size bonuses that are listed down here. These will change as you change things on your character. Skin brightness, freckles, saturation, brightness. None of those will change your size bonus. Body type will change your size bonus. So if you go anywhere from like the B right here on the slider to the middle, you're going to stay with 0 size bonuses. The smaller the frame, the less you're going to be able to carry, less melee damage, less stamina recovery, but you're going to be faster, slower speed, search time, and less stamina consumption. And then the larger the build of your character, everything's going to go opposite. So you're going to be able to carry more melee damage. Stamina is not going to be opposite though for the recovery, but consumption is 30%. So right about from like 25 to 75% on the slider, say if this was 0 and then the right was 100, those are going to be the areas where you'll get plus 15 stamina recovery. But yeah, and then you have minus 8 speed, so that does change, plus 8 speed. So either go 0 or go with what you want to do. So plus 30 stamina consumption, speed minus 15. So this body type is going to be the slider that is going to change your size bonuses down here. So if we make that 0, we go to nose. We have different nose types, just presets you can pick. It doesn't change anything. Size, large on the right to go small on the left. Bridge, you can see that moves that in and out. Height is going to move it where the location of it is on the face, I think. Nope, it changes the horizontal size, and then this changes, so that changes in and out. So that was, so that one does that, and size does this. So that's width, and height is more like length away from the face, and angle does the thing, angle of the tip of your nose. Okay, for eyes, this is pretty much, you could pick whatever color. Saturation to deepen the color, brightness to make it brighter, or you can have all completely like black Halloween contact lenses. You have different eye types, and it only changes that part of the face there. I normally just stick with that one. Height's going to be how high or low your eyes are on their face. Depth is going to be how far inset they are. I normally change this and bring them forward so I have less of like the caveman forehead, but you could deepen them if you want. Size should change how large they are. Okay, so going to the right change makes them small, so that's kind of backwards, but going to the left makes them larger. So you could do a lot with the customization here. Distance is how far apart they are on the face relative to the nose. So you could be Sid the Sloth from Ice Age if you want. It's up to you. Eyebrows, different eyebrow types. It does change the forehead bone structure a little bit, so you might want to turn your character. I'm just clicking on her and holding left mouse button to turn her around so I can take a look. We have surprised, and we have not concerned. So that's what that slider does. Depth is going to be this brow bone, like I said, so you could push them forward or bring them back. I like to just keep the slider in the middle. And then there's the other eyebrows. And that does, see, that does, it brought them out a little bit. So I normally stay with the default one. For mouth, very similar to the eyes. You pick a hue, a color, and then saturation to deepen that color, brightness to brighten the color. So you could do saturation down and do, you know, almost black lipstick if you want. And then mouth types. This is going to change that, that nasolabial fold right here a little bit. And some of these other settings, the depth and the height of the mouth. So I normally pick this one. And then for depth, we have the left to go out, right to go in. I find somewhere in the center is normally fine. Size is going to change the size of the lips relative to the face. So again, we have to the right is backwards and it's smaller, and then to the left is larger. And then this does change this part right here, so it'll make it, oh no it doesn't. That actually changes the cheekbones. Okay, it used to change this. That's confusing. Jaw. Okay, this also changes the cheekbones like that other one did. Height is gonna change jaw height. I'll do the Mew for you. Width of the face. Under jaw. So that brings that lower lip out or in. Chin size is, yep, just what you thought. You could do Johnny Bravo, or, you know, just keep put it wherever you want. Chin width is the width, so that would help with your Johnny Bravo if you want. Which you could absolutely do. There is a hairstyle that goes with it. We'll get to that in a second. Chin length is the height of the chin, how far it goes, how close to the face, the rest of the face, how far away. Chin height, same thing, but includes the whole jawbone. So for hair, going back to the mouth and the eyes, you have another hue bar here. I always go, okay, let me show you the hairstyles here. So you have like regular, short, you know, high and tight type of hairstyle there. Ponytail with bangs. Have like, I don't know, I feel like this is a pretty standard men's haircut here. Got the mohawk, very grown up mohawk. This is the short shaved mohawk. You've got the George Washington. This is my hairstyle that I normally rock. I turn up the saturation and the brightness to get my bright green hair. We also have the regular mohawk, which might be this might be the one you want if you go Johnny Bravo. We have like a scraggly type ponytail, which actually looks a lot more realistic for, I think, what you would find in the apocalypse. You got This could go both ways. This is like another very common male haircut, but it's also a really cute pixie cut. And then you have the spiked pixie cut, or, you know, the hair gelled male hairstyle. You have a bun, so definitely could be man bun or like the Mrs. Trunchbull. And then, yeah, mohawk, bigger mohawk. Let's see if we can. I can't even fit it all in the. Can't even fit it all in there. Yeah. Bigger mohawk. And then this is the this hairdo reminds me of something, but I can't think of what it is. I think what it is it's that old lady that bullies Chunk in the Goonies. Like, her hair kind of looks like this. So that's what that hairstyle is to me. And then we're back to the, like, this is a braid. Scraggly braid. But, so, yeah, saturation for your colors. And then you do have, for beard, the female characters don't have any facial hair on them. The men do, so I will show that in a second. So here we go. To the right, we have facial hair. Left, no facial hair. And that's about all you're going to get, is like a 5 o'clock shadow for that. Okay. And switching from male to female seems to do something weird to skin tone. Oh no, I think just being close to her is making it gray. Okay, so now we have basic face hair. We move on to attributes. So you, starting out, I think you can only hold 55 or 65 pounds, or whatever measure of weight it is, in your backpack when you get the starter kit. You can still hold the same amount of weight without the starter kit, but there's three traits here, attributes, that will affect how much weight you can carry. So you have disorganized. That will give you minus 20% backpack capacity, or plus 20% backpack capacity. So it doesn't increase the size of your backpack. It increases how much you can carry. So there's those two that are pretty far up on the list. So even when you start, they're just right here. There's also another one at the bottom here, sturdy. Carry weight plus 20, points minus 13. So the points refers to this number down here. So when you're picking your body size and type and your build, and you have these size bonuses, these are going to give you points based on what you pick. And those are relative to the bonuses that you would get here. So if you start at 0 and you're picking your attributes, you're going to have this points be 0 to create your character. So before you do your traits, I would recommend that you pick your profession, because you could sit there and play with the traits and get it to 0, then pick your profession, and then now you have points you have to deal with. So I was talking about carrying more weight. So if you want to continue with that, which is a great thing if you like to loot and hoard everything, you're going to want to go porter. So you get conditioning plus 1 and carrying capacity plus 20. So say we go porter and do plus 20. That means we're going to pass up on police officer, which is going to give you your starter kit. With your starter kit, you're going to get police clothing. Or if you don't have a starter kit, you're still going to get the police clothing with this one, and firearm experience plus 25%. So there is a firearms skill. If you're shooting your firearms, you're going to have a 25% increase on how much your firearms skill increases. That's better. Farmer, initial agriculture level plus 3. Agricultural experience gained plus 20%. So that's the same thing like the firearms. You have an agriculture skill. So as you learn agriculture, you're going to learn 20% more. And then you're going to start at 3. So it's going to take you no time to get to level 5, which is the max skill. Initially comes with 4 sets of seeds and 2 chickens. So I believe that these sets of seeds are random. The chickens are probably also random. because you're going to want a hen and a rooster. And they do take a long time to mature and make eggs and stuff like that. Sumo wrestler, initial physique and strength level +1. So that means your skills, like your conditioning, those levels will be +1. Melee damage +4, so that adds on to whatever traits that you pick. Protein and carbohydrate consumption rate +20%. So because of this profession, you're going to use more protein and carbs, so your food stats that will show up in your bag down here are going to go down faster. And then speed -10. Doctor, you start with your medicine skill at level 1 and medicine effects +15%. So you pick this one, you get scratched by a zombie, your health goes down, you use a med kit, that med kit is 15% more effective. Explorer, this is a really good one if you're starting out. It has heat resistance +30, cold resistance +20, and scratch resistance +20. Plus you get a steel sword, which is a great melee weapon to start out with. So this will help you during the summers and the winters and fighting zombies if you're learning how to play. Engineer, so you start with engineering skill at level 1 and building experience +30%. So as you build your base, you're going to get more and more experience, and your engineering skill is going to get higher from that. And then porter, we talked about. Conditioning, carrying capacity +20, so you can carry 20 more pounds. Student, so like the police officer, even if you don't choose the starter kit in your world settings, you will have a starting backpack. You'll get 5 random books, but your defense trait is going to be -5 of whatever you end up choosing, and melee damage is going to be -2 points also. And then we have patient, so stamina is reduced, stamina consumption is increased, carrying weight is reduced by 13, speed is reduced by 10%, and your infection probability is increased by 20%. So there isn't necessarily an infection probability setting in your world settings. There is a virus death rate. So if you have infection probability +20%, and you, from choosing this or from choosing one of the attributes that I'll show you, and your virus death rate is turned up high in the world settings, then it's going to be rough. One zombie touches you, you get infected, and then you're going to have a harder time recovering from the infection, which that's how they've changed it, is if when you are infected, your health is going to go down. If you have either of those things, it's going to go down at a faster rate. Otherwise, it would recover and regenerate at a normal rate. Your health would. The infection or the antibodies that will show up in your stats HUD, that will regenerate by a certain number of points every in-game day. So by hardcore game, it's 2 points every day. And then we have beggar. So we have less stamina bar, we have slower speed, lower search speed, our max health, our HP bar is going to be smaller, melee damage -4, carry weight -10, and defense -4. So I'm going to try and pick traits that will allow me to carry as much as possible. So we'll grab porter. So this part's done. Profession is done. Let's go back to attributes. So we pick sturdy, and we go back up to the top and pick organize. That puts us at -13. So now we need to find attributes that have plus points, which are going to be these are going to be your negative traits. So we're going to have to pick 13 points worth of negative traits in order to level out that carrying capacity. So we do have clumsy, noise radius +30%, points +2. So right now I can't really find a difference for the noise radius, so I feel like this is just a free one for 2 points. We have, when you're reading these, so if you drink your corn wine cider or the beer in game, you get 20% more hydrated. And I've tested this out, it does work. Clumsy, noise radius, agile. Got stupid, genius. So these affect your skills, your tailoring, mechanics, engineering, medicine, metallurgy, agriculture, electrical, stuff like that, medicine. Careless and focus is search time. I think that we can increase search time. It already takes quite a while anyway. I don't really feel like you notice a difference here. So that's another negative trait that I feel like isn't so bad. Weak stomach and iron stomach. So depending on the loot settings that you pick, gastric medicine is pretty easy to find. Also, there are medicinal herbs on the map that just spawn randomly like the rocks and the trees do. You can pick them and then cook them with 2 water in a pot over a campfire to make an herbal tea, and that will get rid of your food poisoning. So this is another trait that I feel like is a gimme. So it's another negative one it's not so bad to tack on there. Gastric medicine is pretty common, even in rare loot settings. Unprepared and survivalists are I would say are tacked onto your starter kit, really. So if you don't want to play with the starter kit, I would suggest also picking unprepared. Food and water to bring with you at the start minus 50%. So instead of starting out with all of your stats being at 100, your food and water are going to be cut in half at the start. So you're really going to have to get on the move to go out there and find food and water. And survivalist is opposite. You're going to have, with the starter kit, you would have 2 small bottles of water to start. If you pick this trait, you're going to have a 3rd water bottle and an extra can of food in your bag. So I explained those. Slow and fast, exactly what you think. Speed, ill-mannered and trade master. So this just affects how much things cost at the traders on the map. Book collector, 2 magazines and a machining table blueprint. So magazines are going to be used to increase your mood, bring your mood level, which is a stat, back up when you're doing any learning from books or learning from traders. And the machining table blueprint is useful and unlocks the second bottom important half of the tech tree. So it is a good one to find. We have carb lover and meat lover. These are both negative traits. So carb lover, your carbs consumption is going to be increased and protein consumption going to be increased. Tailoring, this is just adds, you start with level 2 tailoring. Pacifist and marksman. This one used to be battle maniac. So pacifist obviously is, you're Virgo, you don't like confrontation. So as you're leveling your firearms skill, you're going to have to do a lot more. It's going to reduce the amount of increase that you see in that skill by 25%, and then marksman you'll see 25% more of your experience plus 25% more added to your firearms skill. Chef, you just start at cooking level 2. Amateur mechanic, this one, honestly, you don't need it. Engineering, you're gonna get from building your base or building storage or the benches and anything like that. Mechanics is also very easy to get. Mechanics is going to be basic crafting. So when you craft things, right now it's when you craft things like arrows in the crafting table, or when you make simple parts in the crafting table, like when you just craft simple things, easy, standard, low-level things, you're going to get mechanics. It's very easy to level this up. Unless you need -4, then I don't see that one being a first pick ever. Baseball player. So you also have a blunt weapons skill. It is in the same grouping of skills as your firearms experience when you look at your character stats. So this starts you at blunt weapons level 2, and it is negative trait. It takes points away from you. Butcher, you have blades. That's also a skill. Same thing, level 2. Okay, yeah, so here's the ones I was talking about with the infection. So you have weakened immunity. So if you picked the beggar or the patient and you had plus 20% probability of infection, and then you add weakened immunity on top of it, that's plus 50% infection. So that would be some real difficult. He would just die from infection all the time, I think. Immunity enhancement. So this is negative 30% probability of infection. So if you are worried about your melee fighting and you're going to get scratched and infected a lot, you might want to pick this one up. That might help in the early days, especially when you're getting used to fighting the zombies. This one, weakness and powerful. This also affects carry weight. So we could click that one and get plus 10 also. Pessimistic, optimistic, so mental status. So the mood trait used to be called mentality, and food poisoning used to be called malaria, and other things have changed since then, the wording of things. So mental status minus 30% for optimistic is, this is going to be your, when you're learning from books or from traders to level up your skills, your mood or your mental status are going to be affected minus 30%. So this would be a good one to have if you are doing a challenge where you can only learn from books, or I guess only learn from traders, because your mood is going to go down slower than it would if you chose pessimistic, which is going to go up faster by 30%. And then you have infection duration, which kind of go along with the immunity enhancements. Fast recovery rate, slow recovery rate, pretty straightforward there. You have thirsty and camel. So this is your negative trait here. Camel is gonna reduce the rate that your water stat decreases. Thirsty is going to increase it. You have weakling and bodybuilder. This affects the amount of damage that you can do. It adds on to your size bonus and your profession if it's in there for how much damage you do to zombies and with weapons. Hunter is firearm levels plus 2. So that is, you could pair that with the marksman one up here, so you could get more experience and start with your firearms level at 2. And this is supposed to almost act like a compensator in a way, like a mod for your weapon. So your character is supposed to be able to hold their firearm straighter. It's supposed to reduce recoil, things like that with your character animations, but I haven't tested it out yet. And then we have fragile and strong, which affects your base defense for your character, depending on all of your size bonuses and your profession and things. And then fragile skin and iron skin. So these are large percentages. Bleeding plus 50, bleeding minus 50%. So this would be a good one if you're just starting out and you haven't picked any of the traits that will increase your protection against zombie scratches. If you do fragile skin, you're going to want to collect fabric as much as possible. It's a drop from the zombies. So you need 2 fabric to make a bandage, or you can find bandages, in medical places, farms and houses and vehicles that you find, that are broken, not repairable ones along the way as you're traveling. So I have minus 12 points now, and I've picked all of the carry weight to increase my weight options, and I picked a couple of ones to help bring that back down. So let's go get the rest of this. I feel like ill-mannered trade master, it's 15% difference. So if you're finding a decent amount of loot to be able to trade, this isn't that difficult. So I'm going to pick ill-mannered. That'll help bring it down. And then Meat lover, carb lover. Oh, that's 50% and that's 30%. That's interesting. So we need another one that's plus points. So we could do pessimistic. This one wouldn't be so bad because when you learn from the traders, your mood does go down a lot slower than if you were just reading books to level up your skills. So for me, if I'm gonna start this game, I could just plan to do the looting and the training and learning from traders. So that brings us to -3. So all of the 1, 2s, and 3s are going to be at the top, and then the higher levels, -8, -12s are going to be at the bottom. I could have just picked Fragile Skin and been done with that one. Or Fragile, Defense -5. Yeah, that would be better, because we can get armor and everything else that will counteract that. So no, we still have 1 point. I don't know how that happened. Let me get rid of that one. So I must have clicked another one at the top. Let me see. I'm not sure, but we could pick Drunkard. Drinking alcohol will get us more hydrated and will increase our water stat. There we go, we're at 0. So we picked all the traits to increase our carrying capacity. And then we also picked Drunkard, Clumsy, Careless, Weak Stomach, and Pessimistic, and Fragile. And then the carrying ones were Sturdy, Powerful, Organized, and we don't have any size bonuses. So let's create. Oh, I should probably make a V3PO. That'll work. Create. So let's do single player. We'll get our girl. There she is. We'll confirm. Let's do a new game so I can show you real quick. So these are your standard default settings right here. You can change the difficulty level and the settings in this drop-down box. Beginner is going to be your easiest. Catastrophe is going to increase things and add permadeath to the equation. And hardcore obviously increases things and adds permadeath. So if you're just starting out, I would say just leave it default. Test it out and see. There's a couple of these settings you can change in game, like zombie wave attacks and beginner starting out is turned off. You can absolutely turn that on in game whenever you're ready and want to try it out. You can do that from your settings in game, so you don't have to recreate a whole world to do that. The starter kit. So you get in your hotbar, you get a metal bow, a steel spear, and then you get a 45 mag pistol, a Desert Eagle, and then you get a steel axe, a building hammer, and then an iron dagger. And then in your backpack, you'll start off with a military backpack. You'll get 2 bottles of water, 2 bandages, 2 gastric medicine, a med kit, an antibiotic, an adrenaline, and an antiviral. And you'll also get some cans of food and 2 small batteries and maybe something else that I'm missing. But that's basically the starter kit, and the items that's gonna change depending on what stats and traits you pick. So if you start with 5 random books, or if you start with 2 chickens and 4 random seeds, you know, obviously it's gonna be different. Or if you pick the police officer profession, you're gonna start with a steel sword and all of the police clothing as well. Otherwise, starter kit will give you plain black shirt, black pants, black boots, and that's it. Special zombies, you'll figure that out. Zombie wave attack, that's Horde Knights. Zombie strength, you have weak, average, strong, and very strong. Spawn rate is, so by default, I think it's about 10 or 15 zombies in a place. So if you reduce that, but you know, if you do 0.5, then you're gonna have about 7, 8, I think. If you do 1, it'll be, you know, 10, 15. 2 will be 20, 30, something like that, right? Sprinters starts off at 11%. They run fast. So if you don't have any guns, or you're not quick with the bow or the spear yet, you might want to keep that turned down. Virus death rate. To increase your immunity, you need more antibodies. So this is going to affect your antibodies and how easy it is to die from the infection. So I say put that where you want it. Year duration. So year duration and day duration, this is going to affect how fast your food and water goes down. So say we do if we do 80 days, then you're going to have spring, summer, fall, winter. Each season's going to be 20 days in game. And then if we change day duration, 45 minutes is the default, 90 minutes, an hour and a half for 1 day in game. Your food and your water are going to go down slower. You pick 120 minutes, your food and your water are going to go down slower. It's relative to the amount of time you choose for a day in game. Permadeath, you know what that is? You check it, reset all skills after death, you get nothing. Your body, your grave, and all of your belongings will still be on the map. Everything that you've built is still there, but all of your skills, everything you have unlocked in the tech tree is going to reset. Loot distribution. Rare is rare. Normal and abundant, there's not really much of a difference there, but very abundant is really nice. This is, you know, just so you can learn where things spawn in at, what kind of loot, where you can find it, that type of stuff. I would go abundant or very abundant to start with. And loot respawn interval. So 0 means none, like it says when you hover over it. But this is how many days in game it takes for a POI to have its loot respawn. So you can do 0, 5, 10, 20, 40, 80. I know some people that play on 80, like Duck That Trucks, and I'm currently playing on 0. So it depends on what you want. Merchant restock. So the merchants do have stuff you can buy. A lot of people go 2 or 5 days. I go 10 days. And PvP isn't real in this game, so you can just ignore that, I think. So yeah, if you click on these, if you change stuff and we're just checking it out and you still just want to do beginner, you can click on the beginner in the drop box and it will reset all those skills back to what they were before. But I'm gonna go ahead and confirm after I enter a valid game 3PO. We'll just do that so I know that they're connected. Okay. So we've got our starter kit. So there's our bow, steel spear, DE pistol, iron dagger, building hammer, and steel axe I talked about. 2 cans of food. Oh, I forgot the ammo. You get a full stack 30 44 mag. You also get 9 steel arrows. So those were the 2 things I forgot. Otherwise, we have everything else here. And I started with conditioning +1. So this affects health and stamina. As far as tech goes, I don't have anything unlocked. And then here are all the settings. So I clicked on tab to open my backpack. I hit the little book right here and I hit information. So now I can turn on hordes, or I can turn hordes off. I can change the strength of the zombies, their spawn. These are all the settings that are not grayed out that I can change. I can change starter kit. I can change special zombies. You can change everything but the map and the name of the game pretty much. And then save it. And then we can carry 115 pounds. So that's about double what you can normally carry. It's I feel like 55, 65. Yeah, if you want to, you can carry a lot more. You can carry heavier items, but this isn't the biggest backpack. If you really want to take advantage of the loot goblin, then let me show you. You are going to want to find one of these backpacks. This is what it looks like. It is a hiking bag. There's that one. And there's also a yellow version. And that's what the yellow version looks like. So you see this bag. I have like 3 squares that I can scroll down difference pretty much. If we take this off and we equip one of those, we have quite a bit more. About double extra space scrolling down. I've never counted the squares, but it's clearly larger. And you can tell when looking at backpacks on the map, if you hover over them, it will tell you the name, the weight, condition, and the attributes. So this speed is -20. If we look at this one, this speed's -15. So we know that this bag is larger and carries more because the speed, it reduces the speed that you're able to run by 20, whereas this one's smaller and holds less, so your speed is reduced by -15. So that's a good way to see. If you're not sure based on the images and you find a backpack, just hover over it. If its speed is greater than the one you have, then that backpack is larger. So I think that covers all of the basics. I mean, at this point, we're ready to run out into the world. You can spawn stuff in by hitting Alt-Shift-O if you want, but I say just go and explore. Go be free. So I'll see you in the next one. Okay, bye.